What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokemon DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Now last week we covered the Dragon Psychic type Latias, and I asked you guys which water Pokemon you wanted me to cover this week. It was a choice between Feraligatr and Azumarill, and Feraligatr came out on top, so that's who we're covering this week. But of course we have next week's Pokemon to vote for as well, the penultimate Pokemon before the 100th episode. So the vote is going to be between Clefable and Hydreigon. Do you want to see the Fairy type Clefable covered, or do you want to see the Dark Dragon type Hydreigon covered? Hydreigon, I don't know. Let me know which one you want to see me cover down below by commenting Clefable or Hydreigon, whatever, and I shall cover the one with the most votes next week. But for now, let's go on and have a look at Feraligatr. So, Feraligatr, it is the pure water type and number 160 in the National Pokédex, as well as being the big jaw Pokemon and the final evolution of Totodile. Dimension wise, it stands at 2.3 meters or 7 foot 7 inches tall, so it's pretty darn big, and it weighs 195.8 pounds or 88.8 kilograms, so it's pretty heavy too. Egg and breeding wise is in the Monster and Water 1 egg groups, and the male-female split is 87.5% male, 12.5% female, same as the rest of the starters. Evolution wise, as I said, it evolves from Totodile. Totodile starts off evolving into Croconaw starting at level 18, and then Croconaw will further evolve into Feraligatr starting at only level 30. Base stat wise, if we take a quick look here, you can see its highest base stat is attack at 105 and then defense at 100. Going further down we have health points at 85, special defense at 83, and then special attack and speed at 79 and 78 respectively. So it goes without saying that Feraligatr is a physical attacker. You don't want to be using special at all. It's not the fastest Pokemon either or the most bulky, but overall it has a sort of a general, sort of like spread of stats. Finally, its abilities, it has two available, first one being Torrent, same as the rest of the water type starters, which ups power of water type moves when the health points is low, and then we also have Sheer Force as the hidden ability, which removes additional effects from moves but increases their damage. So, the pure water typing for Feraligatr, how does this mix up with the type effectiveness as well? Because it's 4 types, which is fire, water, ice and steel, is weak to only 2, which are grass and electric, and takes neutral from all the rest. So generally, it's not a bad typing, it's got 4 resistances and 2 weaknesses, so it's on the good side there. Yes, there's a few neutrals there, but at least it's not got more weaknesses than resistances, for example. If we then take a look at the highlighted moves that you might want to use on Feraligatr, we start off with one level up move, which is Crunch at level 32, a pure dark type move, or dark type move in general. Physical as well, building on Feraligatr's physicalness, and it's just coverage really. Then with TMs we have one which is TM 75 Swords Dance, which obviously sharply raises your attack stat when used. Pretty good because obviously you're a physical attacker, and it helps you boost that 105 attack stat up a bit more. And then one other TM as well, TM 90 Substitute, can be used to some effect in some cases, but obviously creates a substitute in, sort of sacrifice for some of your health points. Not the best one, not the best Pokemon to use it on, but it can be used to some effect. Then we also have a HM here, which is HM05 Waterfall, basically your main stab move because it's a pretty powerful water type move and it's physical as well, so that's what we're using there. Then we also have another stab move here, which is Aqua Jet, which is an egg move and obviously has priority, so it does a lot less damage, but it is priority, and because we don't have the highest of speed stats, it is generally good to carry it around just in case. And then we have another egg move here, which is Dragon Dance, very special here for Feraligatr. It certainly helps out because obviously it raises your attack and your speed, and as we said before, speed isn't our best suit, so if we raise both of them up, we do more damage and we're a bit more speedy. Final move here, we have an egg move, or it's probably easier to use the second method, which is a choosing move from Oras, and that is Ice Punch. Again, just for some coverage here to deal with those pesky dragon types, which water type moves won't really do anything against there. But those are your highlighted moves for Feraligatr. So the sets, what sets might you want to use for Feraligatr, obviously? Well, we have two here. One is going to be a Dragon Dance set, and one is going to be a Swords Dance set. These are the two best sets for Feraligatr, really. D-Dance and S-Dance, or Swords Dance. So, use one of them, because without it, you're really mediocre, I guess, because you haven't got a really high attack stat, and your speed's pretty mediocre. So you really need to be either, increasing your speed and your attack, or just flat out increasing your attack to do loads of damage. So, Dragon Dance is up first. The moveset is going to be, of course, Dragon Dance, Waterfall, Crunch, and then Ice Punch or Substitute. Ability is Sheer Force. Nature is Adamant, held items are Life Orb here, and the EVs we have maximum attack and speed, and the rest in special defense. So obviously Dragon Dance, that's what the whole set's about, raising your attack and your speed and use it as much as you can basically. Waterfall is your main stab here, because you want to do damage basically. And then Crunch and Ice Punch could be coverage moves to cover, psychic types, again dragon types, which otherwise you wouldn't be able to affect very well, and other types that are going to resist the waterfall, like grass. I don't know what else there is, but you guys get the idea there. Substitute is the option instead of Ice Punch. Of course you could run Crunch, and you could run Ice Punch and Substitute, or you could run Ice Punch and Substitute. It's up to you there entirely, but Substitute can be used just in the case of you want to do it. Really, I don't know what benefit there is, but it's an option to use it. Ability is Sheer Force here over Torrent, because Sheer Force is much better. Waterfall has a secondary effect, which is flinching, so obviously it powers up Waterfall. Crunch again has a secondary effect, I believe it's lowering defense, so again it gets a boost there. And then Ice Punch has a chance to freeze, so again you'll get a boost there. Nature here is Adamant, because we just want to have, we've got Dragon Dance, so it's going to raise our speed there, so we don't really need another speed boost from our Nature, because we are going to get some speed boosts. So Adamant can be run to get all of the power from our physical attack stat, and held out as a Life Orb, again just to give us more power really well, and lose health points slowly, but it's still good, because of course we'll get more power. EVs again, maximum attack and speed, so we're both fast and as speedy as possible, as fast and powerful as possible. Rest in special defense just to boost it up a little bit, so it gets slightly closer to our physical defense. But how would you use this set? Well, you sort of go in, you sort of Dragon Dance, and then you sort of attack. As long as it's safe, you can Dragon Dance for 1 or 2 turns, and then start using your moves to get some damage off once you're a bit more speedy. Of course, if it's unsafe, like they switch a electric type in, or something along those lines, you might want to think about either attacking soon to try and get rid of them, or switching out and keeping your Feraligatr around for later on, where there might be no more electric types or grass types around, so you can easily set up your Dragon Dance and sweep through the rest of their team. But that's the first set there, so if we move on to the second set and have a look at the Swords Dance. So the moveset is of course going to include Swords Dance, but also going to have Waterfall and Crunch, and then for the last one there's the option of Ice Punch, Aqua Jet or Substitute there. Ability here is going to be Sheer Force once more. Nature again is Jolly, held item is a Life Orb, and the EVs we're going to have this time maximum speed, and then only 220 in attack with 36 more in special defense. I'll explain why later on. But the moveset, Swords Dance, obviously again is your equivalent of Dragon Dance here. You want to use as much as you can to get that nice powerful attack stat up. And of course Waterfall there being your only stab, but your powerful, well not necessarily only stab because we have Aqua Jet here, but the most powerful stab at least. Crunch again is coverage, but of course you could run Ice Punch in this option too, if of course you wanted to run Ice Punch and Aqua Jet, because Aqua Jet is here. The reason we're running Aqua Jet here rather than on the first set is because the first set had a speed boost for Dragon Dance. This time we haven't got a speed boost, nothing to raise our speed, so Aqua Jet might be in sort of useful, come in handy, because of course if we do +4 attack on Swords Dance, from Swords Dance there, Aqua Jet is going to pack a hell of a lot of, a big punch. But if we didn't have Aqua Jet and we had to take an attack, that attack could kill us, and then we're not going to get any damage off of our +4 attack. Hence why you might want to run Aqua Jet so you can get the damage off and sort of save yourself from dying, because there's no speed boosts here. Of course you could run Substitute as well, since that is in the last slot. You could run Swords Dance, Waterfall, Crunch, Substitute. Wouldn't recommend it though. You probably want to run Aqua Jet or Ice Punch, either for coverage or for the sort of the get in and do the damage quickly before you die. But that's that. And of course ability again, Sheer Force, because we get bonuses on Waterfall, Crunch and Ice Punch. We don't get a bonus on Aqua Jet, even though that has a secondary effect. Well, it's really a primary effect, isn't it, because it gets priority, but it doesn't override that, it stays, so it doesn't get a boost unfortunately there, but it's not there for power, it's just there for getting the damage off when it's needed. Nature's time is a Jolly one rather than Adamant, since of course we're having no speed boosts, so we do need a bit, especially if you're not running Aqua Jet, you need a bit more speed. Hence, if you were going to run Aqua Jet, you could think about running an Adamant Nature possibly, but of course if you're not, you want to run Jolly, just to get you a tiny bit more speed, and make you as fast as possible really. And of course we're going to get an extra attack boost from Swords Dance, whereas Dragon Dance was just +1, Swords Dance is +2. Life Orb once more for all the power, and the EV is a slightly different spread this time. Maximum speed still, since we need speed because we don't have Dragon Dance, but not as much attack, since of course we have more attack from Swords Dance. It just allows us to put a bit more in special defense, to bulk us a bit more there, and of course it's actually in relation to sort of the tier that Feraligatr's in, so it can take certain attacks from certain Pokemon without totally getting killed in one, for example. So that is that. That's Feraligatr really. How would you use the second set? Well, of course, you go and you Swords Dance once twice, pretty much exactly the same as the first set, except you're using Swords Dance instead of Dragon Dance, and of course, same thing applies. You might want to leave your Feraligatr for later on, where there's no threats for it, and you can just set up 2 Swords Dances and then Aqua Jet its way through the team, for example. But that is going to be it for Feraligatr, guys, and that's going to be it for today's episode. Of course, don't forget to vote for next week's Pokemon, either Clefable or Hydreigon, down below in the comment section. The one with the most votes will be the 99th episode of the Pokemon DataDex. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.